If you've ever been involved with a construction project, you've heard the term value engineering. But what exactly does it mean? And does it always mean that it's going to provide a lower cost that's also going to ruin the design intent, the overall aesthetic of your home? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get to it. So the first item we're going to discuss today about value engineering is some of the structural components of the house. And originally, we had a very minimalistic design intent that was going to go into the overall design of this patio detail. However, to achieve that, we had to go with structural steel, which was very cost prohibitive. That really would have been a deal breaker on this project. However, we were able to integrate in a glulam beam, a structural wing wall that changed a little bit of the form of the building, but overall saved literally tens of thousands of dollars on this project. And originally, the architect wanted to have a 10-inch gable reveal that came into a 10-inch wing wall detail. And the only way to be able to really truly achieve this was going to be a structural steel component. And I won't go into all the facets and details of this specific detail, but ultimately, by changing to a fully wood framed constructed home, we were able to get a 15-inch reveal on our gable with a 12-inch reveal on our wing wall, which allowed us to be able to still keep within the design intent and have this gracious vaulted patio space that's over 500 square feet integrated into the home, which provided a massive cost savings for our client and this project specifically. And while there was a few other areas that called out structural steel, this was going to be the most cost prohibitive and ultimately didn't really change all that much of the design intent for this space. So we felt comfortable being able to move forward with that option for the betterment of the overall scope of the project. So the second structural component that we wanted to remove from the overall scope of the project was the steel I-beam that was going to be located in this location. It would have provided for a slightly more minimalistic look. However, we knew that we were going to be tying in to our master gable for our patio detail, and we felt like it would look great to be able to flush these out and that we really wouldn't lose all that much of the aesthetic of the steel structure that would have resided here, especially after we decided to remove the structural detailing that was going to be located in the patio that resides just to the south of us. The third value engineering item also took place in this back patio area, but it revolved around roof drainage. And originally, we actually had a parapet here that allowed us to be able to collect the large volume of water that would reside on this roof in a monsoon or a large storm here in Phoenix, and crick it appropriately to a roof drain that would then travel along this exterior wall and exit into our planter basin below. However, we decided to go ahead and go with a 1/2 inch 12 pitch to be able to remove all that additional ABS and plumbing components, because a roof drain system typically is about $1,000 for the drains, as well as the overall subcontracting labor and materials associated to be able to get appropriately down the wall and to get it to ground level and exit the property. One of the main reasons that we felt comfortable with this value engineering methodology was because there was a planter basin below versus a full patio that would allow the water to drain appropriately, regardless of whether it came down a roof drain with a scupper or if it just came off a drip edge and then resided in the large plant basin below us. So let's talk windows. On this door, we had the option to pocket it into the wall, and although that's a really cool detail, it actually doesn't gain you any glass, and it actually reduces the overall energy efficiency and the threshold barrier from your exterior to your interior. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. On this particular home, we still are going to have 4 panels of glass, and they're going to stack directly on top of each other here in our kitchen area to be able to provide a 12-foot exit to the back patio, which, by the way, we beat the heat here in Arizona, so it's a big deal to be able to have our outdoor-indoor living. So overall, this probably saved us about $6 grand on this one window. So with this one change, it saved somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 in the overall scope of just this one door. And we still have the same amount of glass and the same amount of natural light that's gonna be residing within the home. But wait, there's a lot more that we can discuss on how to get the design intent with our window and door package. So let's move over to the living room and dining room and talk a little bit about some of these fixed panels that we associated within this space. So overall in the Scandinavian design, we knew that the design intent required us to be able to have the maximum exposure of light throughout the home, making it bright and spacious. However, knowing that doors specifically cost a lot of money, we opted to go with a 5-panel window wall at the living room location, as well as a 3-panel window wall at the dining room location that really gives this great effect of indoor-outdoor living, but also minimizes the overall cost associated with doors. But the second benefit is that we're able to have a lot more greenery around the space that's located directly out these window walls, and reduce the overall hardscape that is another costly component when thinking about the exterior landscape and hardscape package that resides within this project. We really look at this as a win-win from an architectural perspective because we built something that's more architecturally significant, and there was intention in the way that we went about designing the spaces that, when fully mature, will really provide a lush feel and allow us to be able to have a more diverse plant palette that we can't always achieve living here within the desert. So let's quickly go outside and talk briefly about how this landscape and hardscape package is all gonna come together. So given that we already have a massive entertaining space, it would be foolish for the checkbook, as well as the overall design intent, to be able to have a more sterile environment by encapsulating another 300 or 400 square feet that resides out the living room with a hardscape package, which would be absolutely necessary for us to put in place if this was a sliding door, because it has to have a hardscape surface to be able to exit the property. By making this a window wall, it allowed us to be able to achieve a massive planter that will be divided with some steppers that help to interconnect both the main entertaining patio with our primary patio that resides just behind me. And when fully mature, will give a pleasing aesthetic and overall greenery to the space, allowing us to be able to have a more diverse plant set that we mentioned just a second ago. Overall, I think that this adds to the overall design intent while being smart with the checkbook. So what exactly is the cost savings for this piece? Well, the window wall runs about, I don't know, $1,000 or so a panel versus, in this case, a $20,000 door that would reside here. So we're talking $5,000 versus 20, and then $3,000 on the front versus maybe a $15,000 door. But in addition to that, we're talking about $8 a square foot for an acid wash concrete finish. And if we had about 300 square feet or 400 square feet that was residing in this space that was all hardscaping, that would be tens of thousands of dollars savings as well. So overall, we're talking $40,000 or $50,000 savings just in these two spaces alone. And we get the benefit of a better design intent for the Scandinavian look that we're trying to achieve with this home. So after showing just a few areas that we're able to save massive amounts of money on this house, we hope that we've changed the perspective a little bit of what it means to value engineer. It doesn't always mean that you're dumbing down the product or that you're ruining the overall design intent that was originally intended for the project. There are ways to be able to integrate value engineering into your project that actually enhance your project and allow you to be able to build a more significant product without having to cut the project as a whole. We appreciate you following along. As always, subscribe below, and if you ever have any questions about building a custom home here in Phoenix, reach out at any time. Have a great day.